I was sitting on my favorite chair, reading my morning newspaper. The sun was shining through the window, making everything look bright and cheerful. I felt happy because today was special. Today was my first day of not going to work anymore. I had worked as a nurse for 40 years, and now I could finally rest. I took a sip of my warm milk and smiled. Suddenly, something wet and smelly hit my lap. It was a dirty kitchen towel. "Grandma, from now on, you do all the cleaning and cooking," my daughter Sarah said. She was standing in the middle of the room with her arms crossed. Her hair was pulled back tight. "You don't work anymore, so you have lots of time. Plus, you can't just live here and do nothing." I carefully put down my newspaper. My hands were shaking a little bit. The towel smelled like old food from the kitchen sink. "Sarah, that's not a nice way to talk to Grandma," my grandson Tommy said. He walked into the room wearing his school uniform. His backpack was on his shoulders. I felt a little warm feeling in my chest. Maybe Tommy would help me. But then he said more words. "Grandma is getting old. You need to be more gentle with her." He walked over and stood in front of me. He looked down at me like I was a little kid. "Grandma, your retirement money is not very much. Sarah and I have lots of bills to pay. The house costs lots of money. It's only right that you help us by doing the housework. Don't you think so?" I looked up at Tommy. This was the boy I helped raise after his parents died. When he was sick with a bad fever, I stayed awake for 3 whole nights taking care of him. When he needed money for college, I gave him everything I had saved. When he got his first job, I made his favorite cake to celebrate. And now he stood there looking at me like I was a stranger, like I was someone who owed him something. "I understand," I said quietly. I picked up the dirty towel from my lap and stood up. I brushed off my favorite purple sweater. "You both go to work. I'll take care of everything here." Sarah made a little happy sound and grabbed her purse. She walked toward the door quickly. Tommy followed her but stopped for a second. "Grandma, remember to wash all the floors too. Sarah likes when they shine." Then they both left. The door closed with a loud bang. I stood there in the empty living room. I looked around the house where I had lived for 3 years. It wasn't really my house. Sarah said I could sleep in the small room at the back. On the wall, there was a picture of our family. In the picture, Tommy was just a little boy. He was hugging me tight and smiling so big. I walked into the kitchen. There were dirty dishes everywhere. The counter was covered with sticky spots. The trash can was so full that garbage was falling out. I rolled up my sleeves and started washing the dishes. The water from the sink was running. My tears started to fall too. They were hot and quiet. Before I stopped working, I always helped cook dinner and clean the house after coming home from the hospital. Sarah would always say my food was too salty or not salty enough. She said I didn't clean the floors good enough. But I never thought that on my very first day of not working, they would tell me I was just their cleaning lady. After I finished washing all the dishes, I did not wash the floors. Instead, I went back to my small room. I pulled out my old blue suitcase from under the bed. It was a suitcase I bought many years ago when I went on a trip with my best friend Rose. Rose has been gone for 2 years now. I wonder what she would think if she could see what was happening. I started putting my clothes in the suitcase. I took my favorite books, my photo albums with pictures of Tommy when he was little, and the special bracelet Rose gave me before she died. I didn't have very many things. Everything fit in one suitcase. At the bottom of my bed, under my pillow, I had hidden some money. It was money from my retirement checks that I had been saving secretly for many months. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough to help me start somewhere new. I wrote a note and left it on the kitchen table. "I'm going to find where I belong. Don't worry about me." Then I took my suitcase and walked out the door. At the front of the neighborhood, I waved my hand to stop a taxi. "Where do you want to go?" the driver asked in a friendly voice. I stopped and thought. Where did I want to go? After Rose died, I sold my small apartment and moved in with Tommy. Now I had nowhere to go. "Take me to the center of town, please," I said. As we drove, I looked out the window. I saw the hospital where I used to work. I saw the grocery store where I bought food every week. I saw the park where Rose and I used to feed the birds. This city was full of memories of my whole life. But now I felt like I didn't belong here anymore. I checked into a small hotel downtown. The room was tiny but very clean. After I put down my suitcase, I sat by the window and looked at all the people walking below. Cars were driving by. Lights were turning on as it got darker. My phone was turned off. I didn't want Tommy to call and bother me during this quiet moment. After I took a shower, I lay down on the bed. I kept thinking about Tommy when he was little. All those nights I stayed up when he had bad dreams. All those times I helped him with his homework. All the money I saved by not buying things for myself so I could buy him new shoes for school. Suddenly my phone made a buzzing sound. Scared me. I forgot I didn't turn it all the way off. I just made it silent. A message from Tommy appeared on the screen. Grandma, Sarah is having a baby. Are you really going to let your great-grandchild be born without a grandma around? I stared at the message. My fingers were shaking. Baby. Sarah was having a baby. That was very interesting timing. Just one day after I left. I didn't write back. Instead I called my friend Margaret. She was Rose's sister and a lawyer. Hello Margaret, it's me Helen, I said. My voice sounded calm even though I didn't feel calm inside. I've moved out of Tommy's house. You what? Margaret said loudly. Yes, I left. It was not a crazy decision. I should have listened to Rose a long time ago. Margaret was quiet for a second. Then she said some angry words about Tommy and Sarah. Helen, don't worry. I'll help you right now. Remember that small house you own on Maple Street? The people renting it are moving out next week. You can move in there. Thank you, Margaret, I said softly. But don't tell Tommy yet. I want him to worry a little bit first. After I hung up, I took a long hot shower. Put on clean pajamas. When I looked in the mirror, I saw a woman I almost didn't recognize. Her eyes looked strong and brave. I was 62 years old. Maybe my real life was just starting now. That evening I went down to the hotel restaurant to eat dinner. I had just ordered my food when my phone rang. It was Tommy. Grandma, where are you? His voice sounded upset and worried. Why is the house so empty? What did you mean by that note you left? I'm staying somewhere else for a few days, I said calmly. You and Sarah will have to take care of yourselves now. Grandma, stop this, Tommy said, his voice getting louder. Sarah came home and saw the kitchen was clean. She thinks you're playing a game with us. Just come back, okay? You don't have to do all the housework. How about that? I could almost see his face on the other end of the phone. He wasn't worried about me. He was just annoyed. Annoyed that I was making things difficult for him. Annoyed that he might have to cook his own dinner and wash his own dishes. Tommy, I said, putting down my fork. I am 62 years old. I took care of you for 30 years. I helped pay for your college. I gave you money to buy this house. I am not your cleaning lady that you don't have to pay. Grandma, what are you talking about? He said, sounding confused. We just asked you to help a little bit. Do you really need to make such a big problem out of it? Where are you? I'll come get you right now. That won't be necessary, I said. Then I hung up the phone and turned it off completely. The food at the restaurant was delicious. I enjoyed every bite. Then I ordered a piece of chocolate cake for dessert. While I was eating, there was a show on the TV about families arguing. I watched a mother and son fighting on the screen. It made me smile a little bit. Tomorrow I would go see my empty house on Maple Street. It was time to start a brand new life. Right now, Tommy and Sarah were probably realizing I was serious, that I had really left. I wondered what they would eat for dinner. There was some leftover chicken soup I made yesterday in the refrigerator. But would they know how to heat it up properly? I shook my head. I needed to stop worrying about them. From now on, I had to think about myself first. That's what Rose always told me to do. The hotel bed was so comfortable. For the first time in a long time, I slept through the whole night. Nobody woke me up early in the morning to make breakfast. Nobody made loud noises with their shoes walking around. I slept until the sun came up. Sunlight came through the crack in the curtains. I opened my eyes and looked at the white ceiling. The bed was soft and nice. I looked at my phone. There were 12 missed calls. They were all from Tommy. There were also 5 text messages. Grandma, stop this. Come home. Sarah is really mad. You're making things very hard for us. Where are you? I'm getting worried. I might have to call the police. Police. My heart beat fast for a second. Even though I knew he was just trying to scare me, if the police really got involved, it would be bad for everyone. I decided to call Tommy back. Grandma, he answered immediately. His voice sounded like he might cry. Where have you been? I've been looking for you all day. I'm fine, I said in a calm voice. I'm staying with a friend. Which friend? Tell me where you are. I'll come get you, he said quickly. That's not necessary. I need some time by myself, I said. Grandma. His voice suddenly got very loud. Have you been tricked by someone? Your retirement money is so small. How can you afford to stay anywhere? Was it that Margaret lady? She never liked me. Closed my eyes. My chest felt tight. In his mind, I was just a silly old woman with no brain. Someone who could easily be tricked out of her tiny retirement money. Tommy, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I am 62 years old. I can decide where I want to go. You and Sarah just take care of yourselves. Grandma, you can't do this. He was almost yelling now. I'm your grandson. I'm your only family. How can you just leave me? Leave him. I laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. Tommy, you and Sarah were the ones who treated me like a maid. You're the ones who left me first. There was silence on the phone for a few seconds. Then I heard Sarah's sharp voice in the background. Then she was on the phone. Grandma, it was my fault, Sarah said. Her voice sounded sweet now, like honey. I'm young and I said stupid things. Please don't be angry at me. Please come back. Tommy and I can't live without you. This sudden change surprised me. Sarah had always been so mean to me. I had never heard her talk so nicely before. Is Sarah really having a baby? I asked quietly. Yes, of course it's true, she said excitedly. I was just so happy yesterday after the doctor visit. I wasn't thinking clearly. Grandma, you're going to be a great grandma. Please come home. I held the phone tight. I remembered what Margaret had told me yesterday. She had checked with the doctor's office. Sarah had gone to the doctor, but the doctor said Sarah was not having a baby. Sarah's monthly cycle was just late. They were lying to me. I need to think about it, I said. Then I hung up and turned off my phone again. That afternoon I met Margaret at her law office. The lawyer I met with was named Mr. Peterson. He was about 50 years old. He wore glasses with gold frames. He talked in a slow, careful way. Mrs. Helen Watson, he said, adjusting his glasses. About the money your friend Rose left you when she died, there are some things you need to know. He took out a paper from his desk. Rose set up something called a trust fund before she died. The people who get the money are you and your grandson Tommy. But there's a special rule. If Tommy is mean to you or doesn't take care of you, you can take away his share of the money. I took the paper, feeling shocked. A trust fund. Rose never told me about this. How much money is in this fund? My voice was shaking. Right now, it's worth about $300,000, Mr. Peterson said. Every month, it makes about $1,000. That money should go directly into your bank account. But something strange happened. You never touched this money for the past 5 years. I felt like someone had hit me. $300,000. $1,000 every month. I never got any of it. That's impossible. I looked at the paper more carefully. Then I noticed something. The bank account number was wrong. It wasn't my bank account. You're right, Mr. Peterson said, leaning closer. It's not your account. Rose set up a temporary account. It was supposed to be changed to your name 5 years ago. My fingers started to shake. After Rose died, Tommy helped me with all the paperwork. He said he wanted to help me because everything was so complicated. I trusted him completely. I even signed papers giving him permission to help me. Mr. Peterson, my voice sounded hoarse and scratchy. Can you find out who is using this account now? Yes, but I need your permission, he said. I signed the paper immediately. Mr. Peterson made a phone call to the bank. 10 minutes later, he had the answer. The person using the account is... He stopped for a second. Tommy Watson. I felt like I was falling down. Everything went dark around me. So that was it. Tommy had been secretly taking the $300,000 Rose left for me. All this time he made me think I had no money. He made me think I had to depend on him. All while he took $1,000 every month that should have been mine. Mrs. Watson, are you okay? Mr. Peterson asked, looking worried. I took a deep breath. I tried to stay calm. Mr. Peterson, I want to sue Tommy Watson. I want to get that money back. Well, he said, looking uncomfortable. This is a family problem. Maybe you should try to talk to him first. Talk to him. I laughed, but it was a cold laugh. He stole his own grandmother's money. Money that my best friend left to take care of me when I got old. What is there to talk about? When I left the law office, I stood on the street. The sun was shining, but I felt so cold inside. For 5 years, Tommy had been quietly taking $1,000 every month. Meanwhile, I lived on my tiny retirement check. I became his unpaid cleaning lady. Called Margaret right away. Margaret, Tommy. He stole the $300,000 Rose left for me. Margaret came to my hotel room so fast. When she got there, I was sitting on the balcony, staring at nothing. Rose's trust fund. Tommy's lies for 5 years. Sarah's fake baby announcement. All of this information was spinning around in my head. It made it hard to breathe. Helen, Margaret said, pulling me into a big hug. Don't be scared. I'm here to help you. Her perfume smelled like flowers. It reminded me of when Rose died. Margaret held me just like this and promised to take care of me. But I never imagined the person who would hurt me the most was the grandson I loved so much. Margaret looked at all the papers from Mr. Peterson. Her face got more and more angry. This Tommy looks so innocent, but he's actually horrible, she said. $300,000 and he didn't give you even 1 penny. That's not all, I said with a sad laugh. He made me think we had no money. He made me think I had to depend on him to survive. Let's go, Margaret said, standing up quickly. We're going to the bank right now to find out where this money went. Margaret went with me to the bank that managed the trust fund. After we showed them the right papers, the bank manager looked up all the account information on his computer. For the past 5 years, on the 15th day of every month, exactly $900 was taken out, the manager said, pointing at the screen. The signature on all the withdrawal slips says Tommy Watson. He used the permission form you signed. I felt sick. I had signed that paper shortly after Rose died so Tommy could help me handle things. I never imagined Tommy would use it to steal from me. Can you freeze this account so no more money can be taken out? Margaret asked. We need a paper from a judge for that, the manager said. He looked sorry. After we left the bank, Margaret immediately called a judge she knew. The judge said we had to send Tommy a letter from a lawyer first, demanding he give back the money. If he said no, then we could take him to court. That's too slow, Margaret said, stomping her foot on the ground. A bad person like that should go to jail right away. Margaret, I said, taking her hand. I want to talk to him first. Face to face. Talk about what? She said. He's been lying to you for 5 years. I just want to hear what he has to say, I said quietly. After all, he's the boy I raised from when he was little. Margaret sighed heavily. She didn't like it, but she finally agreed. That night I turned on my phone. I sent Tommy a text message. Meet me tomorrow at 10 in the morning. At the entrance to Riverside Park. Come alone. He replied almost immediately. Grandma, you finally answered. Riverside Park. You're staying there. That's an expensive area. I didn't answer his question. I just sent back, don't tell Sarah. Then I turned off my phone again. That night I couldn't sleep well. I kept tossing and turning. My mind was full of pictures of Tommy through the years. The first time he called me grandma. His happy smile when he brought home a good grade from school. The nice things he said at his college graduation about how much I helped him. These good memories crashed into his betrayal now. Tore my heart into pieces. The next morning I woke up early. I made myself some tea and ate some toast. I sat on the balcony and watched old people doing exercises in the park. I watched young people walking their dogs. I felt a feeling I hadn't felt in a long time. Freedom. At 9:30, I went downstairs to meet Tommy at the park entrance. Tommy was already standing there. He was wearing the blue jacket I bought him for his birthday last year. When he saw me, his eyes got bright. He hurried over to me. Grandma, you're staying near here. He looked at me up and down. This place is so expensive. Where did you get money to afford this? I'm not staying here, I said calmly. This park is just a nice place to meet. Oh, he said. He looked confused. Then he said, Grandma, why did you want to meet? Can't you just come home? Tommy, I said, looking straight into his eyes. I know about the money. The $300,000 that Rose left for me. You've been taking it for 5 years. About $900 every month. You took it while I had to count every single penny I spent. His face turned white like paper. All the color drained away. His eyes looked away from mine. What money? He said, but his voice was shaky. Tommy, I said, using his full name. The $300,000 my best friend Rose left to take care of me when I got old. You've been taking it while I worked like a slave in your house, cooking and cleaning without getting paid. His face went from white to red, then back to white again. Grandma, let me explain. I can tell you what happened. Explain what? My voice was shaking now. Explain how you could watch your grandmother count every penny while you stole her money. Explain how you could make me work so hard without telling me the truth. It was Sarah, he said suddenly, grabbing my hand. She forced me to do it. She said we should use the money to buy a bigger house for our future. Grandma, I was wrong. I really know I messed up. I pulled my hand away. I looked at him with cold eyes. This was the grandson I was once so proud of. A man who was 30 years old, and the first thing he does when he gets caught is blame someone else. Give me back the money, Tommy, I said, trying to stay calm. All of it. I don't have that much right now, he said, his words stumbling. Most of it has been invested. I can't get it out right away. Invested where? Yes. In Sarah's brother's business project. His voice got quieter. It has a 20% return every year. I felt like someone had hit me with a hammer. 20% return every year. That was a fake business. A scam. My $300,000 was probably gone. Lost forever because they were foolish. Tommy, I said, fighting to hold back my tears. I'm giving you 1 week. Either you give back the money, or I'll take you to court. I'll make sure everyone knows what you did. Grandma, you can't do that, he said, looking panicked. I'm your grandson. Would you really let me go to jail? Jail? I laughed, but it was a cold, sad laugh. When you were stealing the money, did you ever think about jail? That money was supposed to be mine anyway, he suddenly yelled. His voice was so loud that people in the park turned to look at us. Rose left it for me too. Why should you get all of it? I'm a part of the family too. I took a step backward. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This was the boy I raised with so much love. The boy I gave up so many things for. And now, for money, he could betray his own grandmother. He could wail at me in public. The trust paper is very clear, I said. My voice was like icy. You only get the money if you are good to me. Right now, you won't get a single penny. Then I turned around and walked away. Tommy shouted from behind me. Grandma, you'll be sorry. Who do you think you are? You're just an old woman who doesn't work anymore. Without me, you'll get sick and nobody will help you. I didn't look back. I just kept walking straight. When I got back to my hotel room, I fell onto the couch. The tears finally came out. They were like a river. Margaret was right. Some people are not worth forgiving. A few hours later, Mr. Peterson called me. Mrs. Watson. His voice sounded serious. I found some new information. Rose's trust originally said that Tommy could only get 20% of the money. And only if 3 things happened. First, if you agreed. Second, after he got married and had a good job. And third, if he was a good grandson to you. Mr. Peterson stopped talking for a second. But 5 years ago, Tommy changed the papers. He made it say he could get 50%. And he copied your signature. That's a big crime. I held the phone so tight. Tommy didn't just steal the money. He also made fake papers and pretended I signed them. Mr. Peterson. I took a deep breath. I've made my decision. We're going to sue him. We're taking him to court. After I hung up, I stood by the window. I watched children playing in the garden below. Once upon a time, Tommy was that innocent. He was that pure and good. What changed him? Was it Sarah who made him bad? Was it the love of money? Or was it my fault for spoiling him too much when he was growing up? My phone rang again. This time it was Sarah. I thought about it for a second, then answered. Grandma, she was crying. You can't do this to Tommy. He's your only grandson. How can you let him go to jail? Sarah, I said calmly. When you two were lying to me, did you ever think about this day? We were wrong, she said through her tears. We really know we messed up. The money has been invested. We can't get it back right now. But we can sign a paper. We'll pay you back as soon as we make profit. What investment? Tell me clearly where the money is. It's my brother's medical business, she said, her words stumbling. It makes lots of money. 20% every year. I made a sound like a laugh, but it wasn't happy. Sarah, you went to college. You're educated. How can you believe in a fake business like that? There was silence on the phone for a few seconds. Then Sarah's voice changed completely. She stopped crying. Her voice became mean and threatening. Grandma, don't push us too hard. If this really goes to court, we'll just say the money was a gift from you. You're just an old lady. Who's going to believe you? I was shaking with anger. Sarah, I have all the papers. I have the bank statements. Everything is written down. So what? She said in a nasty voice. It's a family fight. The judge will just tell us to work it out. But who's going to take care of you when you get sick and old? A nursing home. Hung up the phone. I turned it off completely. These two people. One pretending to cry, one making threats. They were perfect for each other. That evening Margaret came over. She brought food to cook dinner. Spaghetti with meat sauce, garlic bread and salad. When I told her what Sarah said, Margaret got so angry she almost dropped the pot. Those terrible people, she said, her face turning red. Helen, we're going to the courthouse tomorrow. I know some people there. I'll make sure this case gets seen as soon as possible. Margaret, I said, stirring the sauce. I keep thinking. Should I give them one more chance? What? Margaret's eyes got really big. Are you crazy? They stole $300,000 from you. They threatened you. But he's still my grandson, I said. My voice cracked a little. He was such a good boy when he was little. Helen, Margaret said, grabbing my shoulders and looking right at me. Wake up. That good little boy is gone. The Tommy that exists now is a mean, selfish person who only cares about money. I looked down. Tears dripped into the pot of sauce. Margaret was right. The grandson I remembered didn't exist anymore. The Tommy of today had eyes that only saw dollar signs. He didn't care about me at all. Tomorrow, I said, wiping my tears away. We'll go to the courthouse. The hallways of the courthouse were cold and long. I sat on a bench. Margaret and Mr. Peterson sat beside me. Today we were giving the official papers to the court. We were suing Tommy. We wanted him to pay back the entire trust fund, plus 5 years of extra money as a penalty. Are you nervous? Margaret asked. She took my cold hand in her warm one. I shook my head, but my eyes kept looking at the entrance. Would Tommy come? Mr. Peterson had sent him a letter telling him about today. At exactly 9 o'clock, Tommy and Sarah ran into the building. Tommy was wearing a suit like he was going to an important business meeting. Sarah was wearing a loose dress. Her stomach looked a little big. This time maybe she really was having a baby. "Grandma," Tommy said, walking over quickly with a fake smile on his face. "Whatever the problem is, we can talk about it at home. Why do we need to come to court?" I looked at his fake, lying face. I felt sick to my stomach. "Mr. Watson," Mr. Peterson said, stepping between us. "On behalf of Mrs. Watson, we are officially suing you today for stealing money from a trust fund. Here is your copy of the complaint." Tommy took the papers. His face immediately got dark and angry. "Grandma, are you really going to be this cruel to me? You were the one who was cruel first," I said calmly. "Fine. Great." He suddenly raised his voice. Everyone nearby turned to look at us. "My own grandmother is suing her grandson. Everyone come and see. My wife is having a baby and she's trying to destroy us." Sarah played her part perfectly. She held her stomach and fake tears filled her eyes. "Great-grandma, how can you do this? Do you want your great-grandbaby to be born into a family with no money?" I stood up tall. I looked them both straight in the eyes. "Sarah, just yesterday you told me the money was a gift. Today I'm destroying you. Which story is true?" Her tears stopped immediately. Her face turned white. "Tommy," I said, turning to look at my grandson, "I'm giving you one last chance. Admit you were wrong. Give back the money right now. If you do, I will drop the lawsuit. The money has been invested." "I can't get it out," he said through his teeth. His jaw was clenched tight. "Grandma, if you keep doing this, then don't blame me for what happens next. What are you going to do?" Margaret asked in an angry voice. Tommy smiled a mean smile. He pulled some papers from his bag. "This is a list of all the money Grandma cost us for the past 5 years. Rent, electricity, water, food. Everything. If we're going to settle accounts, let's settle all of them." I took the papers. My hands were shaking so much. It was a detailed list. Rent, $2,000 a month. Utilities, $300. Food, $1,000. The total was $200,000 over 5 years. You. Margaret was shaking with rage. She could barely speak. "Helen worked like a horse in your home. She cooked every meal. She cleaned everything. And you have the nerve to charge her for it." "She did that because she wanted to," Tommy said. His face looked defiant and mean. "Besides, what grandmother charges her own grandson for anything?" I looked at this boy who used to hug me and say, "Grandma, I love you more than anyone in the whole world." Now he was like a cold, calculating monster. My heart felt like it was breaking into a million pieces. "Fine," I said, taking a deep breath. "Let's settle everything then." I looked at Tommy with strong eyes. For the past 5 years, I cooked 3 meals every single day. A cook costs $30 for each meal. That's $90 a day. That equals about $33,000 every year. Times 5 years is $165,000. Tommy's mouth fell open in shock. "I cleaned your house twice every week. Cleaning person costs $100 each time. That's $200 a week. Over $10,000 a year. Times 5 years is $50,000. I kept talking, my voice getting stronger. "I did all your laundry and ironing. That's about $70 a month. That's $840 a year. Times 5 years is $4,000. I stared straight into Tommy's shocked eyes. The total for my work is $219,000. Subtract the $200,000 you calculated, and you owe me $19,000 more. Add that to the $300,000 from the trust fund, and you owe me $319,000 total. Please pay me as soon as possible. Tommy's face turned bright red like a tomato. This is robbery. No, this is the fair price, Mr. Peterson said coolly. Mrs. Watson's calculations are very reasonable based on market rates. Grandma! Tommy suddenly dropped to his knees right there in the courthouse hallway. I was wrong. I really know I messed up. The money. I really did invest it in Sarah's brother's project. It's all gone now. Are you really going to watch your grandson lose everything? I looked at him on his knees doing this pathetic act. My heart felt completely dead inside. Even now he was still lying to me. Even now he was still playing games. Mr. Watson, a court clerk came out. The judge will see both parties now. In the mediation room, the judge was a kind-looking woman with gray hair. She looked at our papers and let out a long sigh. Family disputes are always so sad. Mrs. Watson, do you really want to sue your own grandson? Your Honor. My voice was trembling but strong. It's not that I want to sue him. It's that he stole the retirement money my best friend left to take care of me in my old age. He made fake documents with my signature. The judge looked at Tommy with serious eyes. Mr. Watson, you forged documents and stole from a trust fund. That is a serious crime. If Mrs. Watson continues with this lawsuit, you could go to prison. Hearing this word made Sarah panic. Your Honor, we'll pay it back. We'll pay it all back. We just need time. Can we pay in installments? Fine, I said immediately. Sign an agreement to pay me back. Use your house as collateral. If you don't pay, I get to sell the house. No, Tommy jumped up. That's our home. Our house. Then I'll see you in court, I said, standing up to leave. Wait. Sarah grabbed my arm. In the end, Tommy signed the papers. He had no choice. And I finally learned that standing up for yourself isn't cruel. It's called self-respect. My new life was just beginning.